Good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, let me say this. Probably one of the most missed person in this room is Buddy Davis. I've never done a press conference season kickoff without Buddy Davis being around. And I just want to say, you got to keep praying for Buddy and wish for a speedy recovery. With that said, it is the beginning of the season for us. 2013, I think we've had a pretty good training camp. We see a lot of good things out of a lot of young guys, bright spot. Last year we was real young. This year we just young. And we going into the season with only 5 seniors on this football team, but we feel real good about where we are with the young guys. I think coming out of spring kind of gave us a hint where we should be or where we would like to be, and this fall practice has been pretty good. The last week or so has probably been one of the best week of practice that we've had, because you can see the guys are in pretty decent condition. Mentally is the most important thing now. The next 4 days is going to be about being mentally prepared. Mistakes and things like that are what we're trying to protect against. We got some pretty good talent in some positions that are still, I don't want to say competing, but I think we see that some guys are going to get a chance to play, and that's the running back spot. For sure, we feel pretty good about the running back spot that with Martin and Runner and Skinner and the 2 young guys, and Nova Johnson and Justin Kelly. Feel pretty good there. Tight end has been a pleasant surprise with the way Birdsong has performed along with Johnny Hedgeman. Both of those guys has performed really well. From the wide receiver standpoint, Anthony McGee has been a steady force for us this camp, but a guy that has emerged pretty good is a young guy out of Baton Rouge by the name of Chad Williams. Verlin Hunter was coming along pretty good until he a little strained hamstring, but he's coming back. Those 2 young guys. Bailey is here, along with Domino and Leak. I feel pretty good in that area too. But offensive line wise, we're going to be young, but we got some guys that has played. Justin Miller is going to be a redshirt freshman. He was around here all last year. He's going to be the right tackle. Clint Marsh is our leader up front. He started last year along with Anthony Cherry, who moved from left tackle to the center position. Malcolm O'Dear, who's a transfer out of junior college out of Navarro, is a left guard, along with Trent Scott and Milo battling out for the left tackle spot. So we feel pretty good that athletically we're a lot better than what we were last year up front. I think overall we're a lot better. On the defense side of it, we made a change from the defensive coordinator, going away from the 4-2-5 to college 4-3 and other different variation of it. Dirk Winston is no stranger around here, been around here a long time. Worked with Coach Robinson for a period of time. And I think what he's brought to this defense is a lot of enthusiasm. You got a lot of young guys flying around, and we're still going to be young up front. Trey Ford would not play this week for sure, still nursing an injury. But 2 defensive ends is 2 young guys, and Donovan McCray, freshman, true freshman, along with Willis Simmons, Weston Simmons, a true freshman at the other end. McDeese is a sophomore that playing one of the tackle, and Jonathan Williams is another sophomore that's going to be playing the tackle spot. So we're pretty young now. We've been blessed. We got 3 junior college linebackers, and Roy Stevens in the middle, along with Aaron Breed and Steve Osakowicz on the outside. All those guys got some playing time in the junior college ranks, Navarro and Trinity. And Roy Stevens up at Page College. In the secondary, Tyree Hollis is the guy that we're going to look to for leadership, along with Naquan Smith, who's a senior who's been around for a while. Nick Peoples out of Shreveport has emerged as the other starting safety. He's done a tremendous job, and we moved Vallow from a safety position to the other corner with some backup guys. We feel pretty good on the defensive a lot of young guys flying around. Special team-wise, Jonathan Wallace would be our punter and also one of the kickers. We're fortunate enough this year to have 2 kickers opposed to no kicker last year. We feel like we kicker rich this year compared to last year, and we feel pretty good where we are. And it'll take a lot of pressure on some of the things that we can do offensively and not have to put the pressure on doing some things we didn't want to do from that standpoint. So basically that's where we are, and we're looking forward to Saturday night.
Doug, you talked about the mental preparation now. The players have said all camp they just want to get back on the field and prove that 1-10 wasn't them and wasn't Grambling. You know, what's their mentality like? And obviously you can't win a SWAC title in one game. How do you kind of get them not to put all of their eggs in one basket, so to speak?
Well, I think when you look at this, you got to put it in one basket. Saturday night is the only basket that we have. And I think you put everything in one basket Saturday, then you think about that basket the next week. But the Saturday is the one that we worry about more than anything. And we're not trying to look down the road. I think we all understand that you take them one at a time. I always preach to them, it's kind of like eating an elephant. You don't expect to sit down and eat the elephant at one sitting. But if you come back, you know, you can do it piece by piece. And I think this is what we got to do. And A&M just happened to be the first puzzle that we have to deal with.
Last season, you opened with a familiar team, but with an unfamiliar coaching staff and really an unfamiliar foe in Alcorn. This year it's quite the opposite because you and AJ know each other. His staff has pretty much been intact for a while. And the team that you're going against Saturday, talk about them.
Well, number one, you're right, different team. We usually open up with Alcorn, but I don't think that had anything to do with the outcome last year. But AJ and I go way back. We was roommates during the Super Bowl. But we know each other pretty well from a coaching standpoint. He's probably one of the most conservative guys as far as what he does. He liked to be a little conservative. He liked special team and defense to put you in a different mode. He is pretty much in a rebuilding mode, kind of. He has a new quarterback that's going to be his first time starting because he's been blessed with a 3-year starter for the last 3 years. And offensively, I think he lost 6 guys on offense and about 5 or 7 guys on defense. So he's got some pieces that he has to put together, and I know him pretty well that coming here to Grambling, he feel like this is litmus test, and going to tell him kind of what he needs to do for the season. And we're just looking at it from opportunity.
Is this kind of a friendly rivalry between you guys since you guys know each other so well?
We're as friends afterwards and before, not for 60 minutes. No, but DJ and AJ and I has a real good relationship from a friendship standpoint. I think if you look at the record, I think they only won about 5 games against us. I'm thinking I was reading something. I think it's 5 games, and they've only beat us once here at Grambling. So I think he's coming and going to preach that to his guys, and I'm sure we're going to preach the same things to our guys.
It's been a while since you opened the season in Eddie Ribe Stadium. What's the feeling like to start the season in Grambling?
Well, it's no place like home. I mean, you always want to be home. If you can play 11 games at home, you do that. But at the same time, you know you got to be on the road. The last 2 years has been open in Shreveport, and this time we get a chance to open it in Eddie Robinson Stadium. That's a good feeling.
Is it a comfortable feeling? Does it help with anything?
I think when you're at home, there's so many things you don't have to do as far as getting ready for the football game. I think it's the comfort of the players knowing that their locker is actually just like their apartment. And they can come in early, they can sit in the apartment and think about it, they can listen to music, and even they can look at TV now. We got TV in the locker room. So, I mean, they got a chance to relax, opposed to when you got to come out of the hotel, eat pregame meal at the hotel, get on the bus, travel to somebody else's place.
You mentioned at the end of the season how you wanted alumni support at the beginning of the season. It's a new year. Like you said, last year's behind you. So is there anything more important about this week to get the alumni and the fans to come out and support you guys week 1?
Well, I think as a player, you know, when I played, and it's no different for these guys, I think it's important that the supporters and the fans come out to see them play. It kind of gives them that extra boost that they need when they know that there's people in the stands pulling for them. I think it's always good that you can get the support of the fans and the alumni.
There are about 6 of us in this room, Coach, that know about the 30-year history from the opening of Robinson Stadium, 1983. Talk about that and what it means to be here for the 30th year of this stadium.
Well, you know, I've never really looked at it from that standpoint, Larry. You know, we understand that it's 30 years, and I think that's something that, other than the football coaches, you know, we coach football. And I think that has to be something that's brought out from the sports information area and stuff to get the fans to understand that we're dealing with a little time, longevity, and things like that. But I think it's up to us to be able to perform well in Robinson Stadium up on this 30-year anniversary.
You mentioned at the media day that if they played like that, that you guys wouldn't be very good. So what do you guys need to do for the rest of this week to get ready for this game?
But you also got to understand I'm a coach too. We ain't never satisfied. But you know, once we got a chance to look at the tape, you know, we saw some good things, we saw some bad things, and we've had an opportunity to work on them. I'm just hoping and praying that mentally they're ready to play this football game. I know they're gonna be nervous. You know, ain't no doubt about it. They're supposed to be. We as coaches are gonna feel the same way, but I think if we eliminate the mistakes that we made on media day and what we've been making over the past few days, and I think us as coaches got to pare it down and make sure we do the things that we think we're capable of doing.
It's a different team and a different season, but have you talked to them at all about 2011 and the SWAC title? Have you shown them that video of you guys winning just as an encouraging point to say we beat this team and this is an historic point?
It's too far removed because there's so many guys on this football team that wasn't here in 2011. There's a lot of guys on their team that won't be here. I think you're not doing anything when you go back in the past, because that's what it is. Nobody remembers 2011. Nobody remembers 2012. I think it's important that you look in the front rather than the rear view mirror, and that's basically what we're trying to do here.
There are weaknesses that you hope to exploit?
They might get this tape. Oh, no, you know, the thing about it, and like I told you earlier, they're playing a lot of young guys. They got a quarterback that has not played and never been a starter. So, you know, defense, we got to try to confuse him, like they do us, trying to do some things that he hadn't seen before. I think that's going to be the major point that we have to do.
Mason and Lacey had pretty good games last year for A&M. Obviously, they're not back. You talked about the new guys. How, you know, is it good to not see Mason and Lacey on that tape when you pop in A&M and try to tell them?
Well, there's no doubt about it. Without Mason and Lacey, it make you rest a little better, but you don't know what they got coming. They do have a couple of transfer guys. I know they got a transfer quarterback from junior college that they say is going to play. There's a running back that transferred from Ball State, like a little foul ball, about 5'8", about 175, so I'm sure he can run. They feel pretty good about the run game. And that's something that we have to stop from a defensive standpoint. They got a pretty good receiver that had about 47 catches last year that we got to make sure that the quarterback can't get the ball to him. What we don't want them to do is to build up momentum. And I think that's something that we got to do early.
What are the challenges of their defense? They have 3 people that were on the preseason All-American team. So what do you see from their defense that's going to be difficult to deal with?
Well, you know, this is preseason All-American. And when I think about that, I think about a lot of guys that's been on preseason All-American that at the end of the year wasn't nowhere to be found. So we can't look at it from a preseason All-American standpoint. We got to look at it from what we got to do. We can't worry about what they are or what they perceive them to be. We had nobody on preseason SWAC team. And then when you look at it realistic, that might not be a bad thing. It might give them some incentive to try to get on the SWAC team at the end of the year.
You talked about DJ's growth mentally. How's the passing game coming along on the field, you know, through practices? You talked about McGee and Bailey and Chad Williams. Just, what do you feel about the passing game coming in?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it all depends on how those guys do. But at the end of the day, it's all about what happens up front. I think offensive line got to get a quarterback chance, you know. And as a quarterback, and it's not a defended type of thing, but I can say this. I watched a young guy last year that got beat the pole up front and took a lot of the blame, and that's fine. But I think at the end of the day, very few guys would have got up from some of the hits that he absorbed last year. And I think that says a lot about him, his character and his toughness. He proved one thing, that he's tough. And I think mentally he feels a lot better about the people in front of him blocking and the people that he's going to be throwing to. And I think at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, that he has to feel that way. And we as coaches got to hope that everything he feels is the way it's supposed to be, and we feel pretty good about that.
You mentioned the running backs have had obviously a really good spring and fall. How much will a more improved running game, better yards per carry, things like that help obviously overall?
Well, ain't no doubt about it. I think every team that plays football, I can remember playing, in Washington. Joe Gibbs used to always tell us, if you can rush for 150 yards a game, you pretty much control the football game. And if our running game is anywhere near that, we got a chance to do some things we want to do. That means we're not playing catch up when you rush for that many yards. You don't have to throw as much to try to play catch up.
Talking about your defense, you've said a lot on numerous occasions so far is that you don't want your guys thinking that was the biggest reason bringing Winston in on defense, just to fly around the ball. And with so many young starters, do you think that kind of goes hand in hand this year? Is that with the young guys comes the not thinking and just getting to the ball?
No, I brought Dirk Winston in to improve the defense. and I think he's done a great job, because I think he's taken a lot of the thinking away from the game for the younger guys and give them opportunity to play football with the skills and ability that they have.
You mentioned about the 5 or 6 seniors that you do have. How have they helped with the maturation of the new guys that you brought in?
Well, I think Bailey and Naquan Smith and Clint Marsh are 3 guys that have been great leaders. And, I take my hat off to Clint Marsh, because I think he's come a long ways from a leadership standpoint. And, and the good part about it, we had no issues. Any of those guys, as far as leadership concerned, they've done what we would hope that they would do and lead by example, and got the young guys following.
If you can come out and establish a run game early, how much you think that can help the passing game, just kind of open things up, get some defenders out of the box and everything?
Well, there's no doubt about it. If you can control the run game, not that that's our game plan to come out, because we don't know what's going to happen early on. That's the toughest thing about coaches on game day, is to try to find out how you really want to come out. And you sit down with the guys, and when I say the guys, I'm talking about the other coaching staff offensively. Defense is a little different, but I think offensively you got to kind of prepare how you want to come. And then at the same time, when you come on the field the first time, field position dictates to what you really want to do, and how you got the ball and where it's located and everything like that. But quite naturally, we certainly want to be able to run the football.
You said Jawan's the starter, and you said you sometimes have to go on feeling of who's going to stay in the game when, but do you have like a preliminary plan of, this guy I'm using this situation, this guy I'm using this situation as far as the running game?
No, we have not sat down and said that, because no matter what we do as a whole, anybody who's in there has got to be able to do what we do, from runner to the young guys and Justin Kelly to Martin. And he's the starter, and if he runs the football, you let him run till he raises his hand up and you give him a break, and then you send him back in there. But at the same time, I know there's going to be some opportunity for some of the other guys to play. And I can't sit here and tell you how it's going to go. I can tell you we won't say you got the first series, you got the second series, and we're not going to do it that way for sure.
You mentioned AJ was more kind of like conservative in the way, his style. Does that change your coaching style at all to try to mimic your game plan or anything like that?
No, like I say, this is not the first time going against AJ, and know him well. That's the way he do things. And my thing is, if we don't give him an opportunity to stay conservative, and I say that from a standpoint, if the momentum changed to them and they got a lead, he gonna get more conservative. I like to put him in a position where he has to get unconservative and do some things that is uncharacteristic of him. That's what I like to do, and the only way to do that, you put him in a catch-up mode.
With Alabama A&M moving to first on your schedule now, what is the biggest challenges of facing a team week 1 versus facing them week 4 when you have some game tape of what they can do this season?
Well, we got game tape from the last 3 games. The only thing I hate about him moving up, I think, is unfair that the conference changed the natural rivalry game. You know, there's no doubt in my mind for the fans, playing Alcorn first would have been so much better than playing A&M, but that's out of my hand. That's what they did. And we only gonna look at it from the standpoint, this is the first conference game, and we gotta do the best we can, and worry about Alabama State down the road as the third or fourth game. So this is the first game. Both of them would have been the first game. We had been playing Alcorn. The most important thing is try to get out with a win.
Coach, it's supposed to be over 100 degrees at game time. Is that going to change your running players in and out?
Well, it's going to be 100 degrees for them too. And that's the good part about it. I think depth plays a big part on this. You know, I think we got running back, then we got receivers. The offensive line, it's the part that you're concerned about more than anything, because you got these big boys that going to get heated up quick. And if you got somebody go in, he might not do the job like the guy that's starting, but you got to be able to get by with him for a couple plays here and there. Just hoping nobody cramps up. That's the key issue here.
On offense or defense, is there any position that you feel really, really good about?
You know, I think overall as a team, Ray, that's how I look at it. You know, I can't pinpoint one area and say I feel really good about it, but I feel good as a whole, that as a unit, that we'll do pretty good.
Let's talk about with DJ coming back for now his third year of under center. Talk about, I guess, what you're expecting from the jump from the second to third year from a guy that's obviously now got a lot of experience.
Well, I think the good part about this year, I don't have to answer Frank and DJ question. That's the number one thing. And you know, DJ is the quarterback. He was the quarterback last year. He's the quarterback this year. And I think from a maturation standpoint, maturing, I think he's come a long way. I think he understands that. And I think the players look up to him as the unquestionable leader on offense. And I think that's the most important thing. When you're the quarterback, when you can get the attention of all the players, and I never doubted he had that. He had that regardless of what the outside was saying, he had that, and that's why he was the quarterback, and that's why he's the quarterback today. I think we're blessed with Jonathan Williams as the backup, and we got a young guy that I think has come on tremendously in Stephen, that if we had to, either one of those guys could play.